Good morning, YouTube. This is Tire Metalhead Weatherman. I hope you guys are having a good start to your Saturday, a good start to your week in general. Got a bit to talk about here, mainly severe weather today. We'll go all the way back to the SPC outlooks in general, and we can see that there are now two slight risk areas for severe weather. This is upgraded further from what it was yesterday, where there was only a marginal risk. Now we have two slight risk areas. First one includes Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, including the cities of Omaha and Lincoln. And then we also have eastern Kansas involved. And then a secondary slight risk area has developed, which includes Montana, parts of South Dakota, and maybe a tiny little sliver of North Dakota. Have to watch these areas, and then we have 2 more days of slight risk for severe weather, one on Sunday, one on Monday. We'll take a look at the hazards for day one. We'll progress from there. We do have a high wind threat. There is a 15% chance of damaging winds in our slight risk areas, which I've already highlighted, which are highlighted in the yellow, and the marginal risk is the brown of the 5%. And we have a hail threat, and even a significant hail threat around Lincoln and Omaha and Kansas City. I'll have to watch that today. And also, when we look at a tornado threat right around Omaha, Lincoln, Kansas City, we'll have to watch that. And it's ironic how it almost kind of coincides with the hail threat, because you know the general saying about usually whenever you see hail, there's a tornado not too far away. That's partially true, but looks like today the possibility of that being the case is a little bit higher. There is a 5% area around Kansas City. There's a 2% area highlighted in the green in both areas. So we definitely have the possibility of seeing a few spin ups at the very least. So we go to day two, and this is when I'm starting to think damaging wind will become the main threat here, especially once we get towards the central part of the slight risk area here. We'll have to say Colby, McCook, Valentine, all of you guys watch out, as well as Rapid City and Pierre up in South Dakota, even Sheridan in Wyoming, and even some parts of Montana might need to watch out early. We also have a very big marginal risk area, stretches almost from coast to coast. We have Oregon in play even, which is kind of crazy to think about. You have a risk for severe weather, and it goes all the way to the Delmarva. So let's take a look at the wind threat, and we have it, and of course our 15% highlighted in the yellow. Brown is our marginal risk, 5%. Hail threat is pretty much the same. The tornado threat is where things get interesting. Almost in all the areas, with the exception of the Oregon and Idaho area, there is a 2% chance of tornadoes in all of them. All the way up towards the U.S.-Canada border, which include and stretching all the way down past Fargo, North Dakota, and Grand Forks. There's a 2% chance there. And then around Sheridan, once again, this will be your second day in a row for severe weather, including Rapid City and Pierre as well. There's a 2% chance of tornadoes. And then towards the Ohio Valley, the business has been picking up around there lately. And even towards the Delmarva as well. We cannot rule out the possibility of a tornado spinning up here. So we got to watch these real careful. And then on Monday, we have a day 3 slight risk. Kind of has that linear look to it again. Wouldn't be surprised to see a spin up as well. But this is mainly for the Dakotas. And we do have slivers of Wyoming. I don't know why I was about to call that Wisconsin. And slivers of Minnesota. And our marginal threat extends all the way down to the Ohio Valley once more. It's that time of year for those guys. I have family up there, and it's usually when things start to pick up for them. I have no real hazard type, but I'm guessing damaging straight line winds. Hail threat's still probably going to be there, but I'm definitely thinking damaging winds. Maybe an MCS, maybe even a bow echo. Who knows? Can't rule it out. So let's take a look now at the low level jet here. See what's caused the uptick in our tornado threat around the Midwest today. I mean, we do have a little bit of a streak that pops up here. HRRR doesn't really pick up on it. It picks up on something down here towards Oklahoma, but we're not expecting severe weather around there. Just a lot of wind. And there's really not a lot to work with here. But when we look at Sunday night, that's when things kind of get interesting. We do have a couple areas where we get like small little spikes, maybe a localized tornado outbreak. Particularly towards the Ohio Valley. I'm concerned about you guys once again. So be on the lookout. And there we go. I don't know what it is about the HRRR, but it always tends to freeze my computer more so than any other model I look at. There we go. Move this along if it'll move. Okay, there we go. Get that off there. Maybe it'll help. Go into the morning hours. Trying to see if there's anything around the northern plains. It's not really much. I'm thinking mostly a damaging wind threat again. Can't rule out tornadoes, but I'm thinking the main threat's going to be towards Ohio. You might have an uptick again. And then maybe towards the Delmarva as well. Then once we get towards Monday, I'm kind of limited on what I can see right now. Let's take a look at the Cape values. We're going to look at something a little bit different today. We're going to be looking at the surface-based Cape instead of the mixed layer, which is what I'm usually looking at. Try to get an idea of what the energy is like at the low levels of the atmosphere. So I do see an impressive amount of low-level Cape, especially towards our area of greatest concern for tornadoes around Lincoln and Omaha, especially towards the late evening hours, mid to late evening hours, and into the overnight. That energy does remain. Finally starts to dissipate, but then refires and starts to surge to the north here. Greatest areas of Cape right now seem to be right around the same area, just kind of lingering around the same areas, maybe a little bit further south. We have some really high Cape values at the low levels too, so could even be some hail. We'll take a look at the mixed layer as well. Might as well at this point. Just give me a second here. Here we go. I think this should be ready to go. Nope, it's not. Come on, computer, work with me here. There we go. Now I can start moving this forward. And even on the mixed layer Cape, while it's not as high as the surface base, it's still pretty impressive. Actually, it's about the same, I'd say. Maybe not as rich value as the surface, but we're still getting towards that 3,000 plus mark very easily. So this is a very rich environment for thunderstorms to develop in and thrive. Then we will go all the way into Sunday here. And we get a good bit of energy around the Ohio Valley as well. We're still hitting that 1,000 mark, and I think that's what will also help the tornado threat. You don't want a super duper rich environment. You want to get to about 1,500 to 2,000 joules idealistically. So that way you don't get a mode of storms or a mode of convection and just a bunch of storms everywhere. So I definitely will have a more peaked interest in the Ohio Valley on Sunday. I think the further to the west you go, the threat becomes more damaging. Straight line winds, maybe a line of storms. But as we go into Monday, that's where I'm getting kind of limited once again. But I bet you're thinking, all right, enough of this little fancy hoopla with Cape and stuff that I don't know about. Show me what the radar might look like. I can do that for you. I can probably do that better once I get the loop going here. Be nice if it did pop up by now. Okay, here we go. And we're gonna be moving this along a bit here, and once we get into the late evening hours, here's where our storms start to pop up. Not a lot of coverage from the looks of it right now. I think the coverage is going to be a little different from what RHRRR is showing here. I expect a little bit more coverage, especially with such high Cape values like what we have and with the positioning of our low pressure. I do find it a little odd, though, that it's off to the north and east and not to the south and east. But it's still on that right side, which is an area I always tend to highlight in my videos about as an area of interest. So here's our upper level low moving around on Sunday. And here's our secondary upper level low, which is what's going to be causing some activity around the Ohio Valley. So it's a very active situation here. And then we go into Sunday night. Here's where our line of storms form. Very messy MCS. We'll have to watch this closely and see if that organizes into a line. I'm not convinced at the moment that it will, but it is showing some signs that it's possible. So we can't take that lightly. So if you're in any of these areas of interest for severe weather today, definitely keep a close eye on the weather. Be prepared if a warning is issued. Have a plan of action. Have a way to get warnings just in case you aren't in an area with tornado sirens. To any of you that are in this area, watch my video. But that's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys stay safe if you're in an area of interest. If not, stay cool. Enjoy the weekend. I know it's hot for a lot of us. But that's all I got. It's been Tire Metalhead Weatherman. I will see you in tomorrow's video.